Most women today in the West are raised to be workers. They're raised to be workers. They're raised to go get an education. They're raised to make money. They're raised to be workers, not wives. Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Purpose Driven, where I, the middle child, drive with a purpose. To continue where I left off last time. From my perspective, it's as a young black man. So, as a young black man, you are going to have to work a little bit harder than the rest, unfortunately. That's just the way the world is. But you know how I say it? The world is not fair. It is indifferent. Now, there is some pride in that because as a young black man or as a black man in general, you had to outwork the competition to get the position you are in. So more times than not that if you are at a certain level, at a certain position, for a fact that you deserved to be there. So take some pride in that. Please do. From what I've learned, you have to toot your own horn every now and then because if I'm just being honest, especially as a black man, not too many folks will do that. Me, myself, I had support, but not as much as my competition. So there are a lot of young black men out there that don't have the proper support. But when it comes to dating, let's get back on topic. So I was talking about dating with a purpose. I was talking about dating for the outcome, which is marriage, for me, to have children. Now, if you are one of those people where there are people that don't want to have kids. I don't have anything to do with that. I want children. From what I know, most people want children. I mean, the perception of that might have changed today, which is reasonable because the cost of living is so high. There are people that are pretty much saying like, hey, I don't want to bring my kids into this type of world. And by all means, they have the right to do that. But for me, I was willing to work and put myself in a position to get my children. And right now I'm continuing to even further improve upon that so I can have more children because I want 3. I currently have 1. I want 3, at least. So yes, I want to be very fruitful, but I'm going to be very reasonable with that. And I know that I have a goal I have to meet. I have a certain income bracket I got to be in to achieve that. So that when I bring those additional 2 into this world, it's into a world where I can provide for them comfortably. Because as a father, as a man, that is what I believe my purpose is, to provide for my kids, for my woman, for my family, my household in general. For you, however, for anyone watching this video, and you want to know a bit about how I got to the point I am, where I am actively still in process working to build my family with a woman, a black woman. Early on, I dated with a purpose. You will have to get comfortable cutting people off. You will have to get comfortable not only being said no to, but saying no. Because there is going to be rejection, trust me. If you're like most men, you like to go after the most attractive women and, try your hand at it. If you're a bit shy, you probably wouldn't, just because you're shy. But go ahead, put your hat in the ring. Get out there, get used to. I mean, if you're a salesperson, you should be used to this. I mean, there is a lot in sales there's a lot in business in general that applies to just life in general, especially dating. Like dating and business to be honest, they are very, very well aligned with one another. There's concepts where you learn in one where it very much affects the other and vice versa. You're going to have rejection. Now, you're also going to have to be reasonable because in the black community specifically in general, it's heavily prevalent in the black community where you do have a vast majority of broken families. Family structure is just imploded far worse than for other societies. So there's less exposure to proper family structures. There's less exposure to, in a lot of cases, to fathers in general, like in the household, like living under a father's authority. Now, there has been a prevalence in other communities as well, but the black community has suffered by far the most when it comes to this. That being said, you're not going to be getting or finding perfect people, especially when you're young, especially today in the West. Most women today in the West are raised to be workers. And I'm gonna say it just like that. They're raised to be workers. They're raised to go get an education. They're raised to make money. They're raised to be workers, not wives. So much so, like it's a thing they do now where they scoff at cleaning and cooking because that used to be the pet peeve of the housewife. Oh, she cleans and she cooks. Well, now most women today, they be like, clean and cook. No, I don't do that. And it's just like, so you don't clean your own room, you don't cook your own food, like come on now, like. And it's this thing, this pendulum, I like to call it like a pendulum swing, where it's like it never stops in the middle. It's like you had back in the day, you had the general housewife who used to cook and clean, instead of it kind of going to a neutral area where it's like, okay, well, it's not standard or mandatory that she cook and clean. Now it's like, okay, she cooks and clean as she needs to. But no, it swings right on past that, all the way over to I don't cook, I don't clean. And you'll find these extremes happen a lot. Let me see if I can get over here, trigger this light. This type of extreme happens a lot in life in general, instead of it kind of settling in the middle. And I call it a pendulum swing because usually it goes from one extreme to the next instead of settling in the middle at a more ideal place. Because there should be, I'm all for freedom of options, not freedom of outcomes. You have the option to do what you want, but each option has a consequence. So when you're dating, you will, and most women don't cook nowadays. They don't cook like that. So, and especially if you're young, trust me, you should just be happy if you get a nice, attractive woman. Like, let's just be real. If you're young, of course, there's gonna be some things where it plays a good part in, okay, is she a good fit for you? The cooking and cleaning thing, someone can learn how to do that. And to be honest, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a man, trust me, she'll naturally align because she'll want to be productive as well. At least if you pick a woman with the proper qualities. So as a young dude today, like I said, unless you're like that top 10% straight out the gate, you don't be trying to look for no top 20-30% of woman. Don't try to look for no genuine housewife because you're not going to be able to provide for her. No. You're going to get a girl that's most likely in college. She's on her way too, and she's been told to be a college student, get a job, etc., etc. But you have to be able to work with this. You have to be upfront. You have to be real. There's no, I'm not all for game, this whole dating scene where people run game. And no, I'm me. This is me. This is the outcome I desire. Hey, you cool? You want to come? Hey, kick it with me. Just be yourself. That's one thing I do say all the time. Like, be true to yourself. Be yourself. How are you going to know when crap hits the fan and then you've been faking all the time? And now you're your real self, because you were faking all the time and now she's unattracted to you, later in life because you were faking it for a while. No, just be yourself. The type of girl, the one that really fits with you. And I don't mean to say the one as in you only get one, there's only one girl out there for you. What I'm saying is, there could be like an assortment of women that can fit with you. But general rule of thumb, I like to think like there's 80%, the 80% rule, where it's like if someone is based on some qualities that are necessary to make a good fit for a wife, specific to the individual. There's of course there's mandatory stuff where it's like femininity is at least femininity in its natural state is mandatory. Is she comfortable? If you're attracted, because let's be real, some guys are attracted to a little bit more masculine of a type of woman. But if you're attracted to that, for me, that's a must. She must be feminine. I am very attracted to that. That's what I'm attracted to. So there are going to be some qualities that are must-haves. They might make up, 40 to 50% of those qualifying qualities. And then there's going to be qualities where it's like you just kind of nitpicking here and there. Okay, did she grow up with a father? Does she have a father figure in her life? Now that could be one of the important things in your life, because from what I do understand is if a woman is around a man, or she not necessarily a man that's not, when I say around a man, I mean her father or a father figure, and she respects, or she knows how to respect that authority, that's a huge plus. And like I said, nobody's perfect. So her parents might not have necessarily been married, but her father was in her life. That's acceptable to me. But if like her life was completely void of a father, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's a big red flag, because I know personally that's going to be a big hurdle that I'm going to have to overcome. I'm a young man. I'm still figuring myself out. I can't, I was reasonable at the time. So I'm not trying to fix anybody. I'm just trying to get somebody who I can work with. That's exactly what I was doing. That's exactly what I did. I was trying to get somebody who has similar beliefs as me, who has similar core values as me, who of course respected me and saw, like I said, as I was me, she would tag along with me. It wasn't me trying to hit it. Like me and my wife currently, when we was chilling, kicking it, she would hit me up more to try to be around me, probably more than I would hit her up. And mind you, that doesn't mean I wasn't attracted. I was very well attracted. Like the first, week or so we met, hung out, I was all for it. I was all in. I was like, hey, this chick is cool. Hey, I can kick it with you. Like we was watching, funny YouTube videos and stuff, kicking like we became friends almost, that first week. Instant friendship. And of course it evolved. But we had and through the talks we had, when things got serious and we seriously started taking each other seriously, dating, sex, marriage, we had similar core values, we had similar understandings of life, and I had already kind of made in my mind, I want to have this many children, I want to be at this place at this point in my life. She, on the other hand, of course, like a lot of women, she was just kind of living in the moment. She didn't really have plans on marriage or kids. Actually, if I'm being honest, before she met me, she was like, she didn't think she would meet a guy like me and be considering or at this point now having my children. She was thinking like and it was like a heart to heart, because I'm sitting down talking, we're having a good conversation that we do from time to time, and she was like, yeah, before I met you, like I like kids, family, that kind of thing, it just wasn't even really on her mind. Like she thought she would live her life just working and have nobody, because she didn't want to be a baby mama. Thank God she had a little more reason to her, but she saw the outcome of a lot of women around her. They were single, unmarried. Now she does have more married women in her family, I will say that, but let's just be real, like when she would go to a majority black high school, or she was around majority black areas and stuff like that, most of those girls were single. A lot of them were baby mamas, not married, not wives, but I was like, hey, I want to have a family unit, I want this structure, I want this, that, blah blah blah, this is all the things I want. Now it wasn't like I had a whole rap sheet, but it's like this came out through like conversation, so I'm just giving us a synopsis of everything. But it's like, I let her know the kind of what I was envisioning. She liked the vision, she jumped on board, and that's history. So for you guys, as you're building, as you're still young and going either through college or the trade route, whichever route you're going, as you're still building, or if you've already gotten to a certain point, you're going to have to at least leave yourself open to the women around you. If you I get it. If you want to cut yourself off completely just to focus on your goal and then try again to get the best type of woman you can in the future, fine, do it. But for me, I valued a woman who was there, while I'm building. Like, I valued like being able to say I'm you know, I've been married for 10 years in like my 30s. I valued that kind of, like, me and my girl, we did this together. It wasn't just because she has a lot more invested in me and I in her. So the bond we have is much stronger than, say, if I had left her, went out here, worked 10 years, worked hard, and then met another girl, and I'm already successful where I want to be, and then I just meet some other girl, in the future. It's not going to be, to be honest, to me, it seems like it's going to be more transactional than anything, because, it's more like, oh, I want a family and kids now. Let me go find a wife, which, that is a lot what marriage is anyway. But when you're young and you grow with someone, and like I said, we're not perfect when we're young, but I've seen her progress and grow. She's seen me progress and grow. We understand each other very well, to the point where when I do get to that point, 10 years later, it's like clockwork. She knows me, I know her. We communicate very well. We know exactly where we're coming from with one another. I mean, to a certain extent, it's like certain things I'll say, and she's already on point. She already knows exactly what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and it's just like, okay, cool. So, that's just something to think about. But till next time.